At that depth, this happened at 20,000 feet, so the pressure outside was 5 tons per square inch. 5 tons per square inch. If a primary fitting between the ocean and the interior of the cabin had failed, we would have never heard the noise, because we would have been killed instantly, probably before we even heard anything, because you're talking about a lot of pressure out there. All of our gauges told us that the dive was proceeding okay. We weren't getting suddenly heavy. We weren't getting suddenly light. Nothing seemed to be wrong, except we had a hell of a bang. I mean, it really shook the whole machine. So we proceeded on down.
The Trieste continued and touched down at 1:08 p.m. The first observation made was of a fish, proving that life was found even at the deepest part of the ocean.
My point, of course, was getting back up we'd really achieve it, but that's a definition of ocean engineering. A lot of people have gone to the bottom of the ocean. It's getting back up that defines engineering, perhaps.
To ascend, the Trieste dropped 800 pounds of weight or ballast and made its way to the surface.
Going up the ladder, it felt pretty good because I was returning to my world. Not that I missed it, but I'm an air-breathing creature like all of us, and it was nice to go back to where I came from.
Some air-breathing mammals thrive in this ocean realm. Millions of years ago, the dolphin returned to the sea. Underwater, humans cannot compete with these perfectly evolved animals. The Atlantic bottlenose dolphin can hold its breath for up to 8 minutes. Domesticated dolphins allow us rare observations of aquatic mammals and their physiological capabilities.
The deepest trained dive was to 1,795 feet. Science is still trying to understand exactly how they are capable of that. They do have a collapsible rib cage that enables them to go to that depth without getting crushed the way that we would get crushed under that same pressure.
The deeper the water, the less familiar we are with the animals that roam there.
The terrifying battle with the giant squid.
Sure, sailors were scared. They were very scared. Sailors had to be frightened, scared to death, because they were going into total and complete unknown. And just over the edge, of course, that's where all these monsters live. And they're just ready to reach out there and suck you in and gobble you up.
Clyde Roper has spent the last 35 years studying squids.
One of my favorites, simply because it's one of the simplest, is a sautéed squid. To sauté a squid in olive oil, garlic, lots of garlic, always garlic. I don't have the slightest problem eating what I study.
But it's the giant squid that is Roper's area of expertise. These monsters of the deep aren't just ancient seafaring tales or figments of a movie maker's imagination. Yes, Virginia, there really is a giant squid.
It has a large head, perhaps on the biggest ones, about 2 to 2.5 feet long, with really huge eyes. This is one feature that is sort of characteristic of giant squid.
Although specimens have been collected dead or dying at the sea's surface, no one has ever seen a giant squid in its natural habitat. Roper plans to be the first. He and a group of scientists from the Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institution are embarking on an extensive search off the coast of New Zealand. Using a deep-sea submersible, they will dive in waters up to 3,000 feet in pursuit of this elusive creature.
I really would welcome that opportunity to have the giant squid grab a hold of the submersible. Now, I don't know how the pilot and the Harbor Branch people think about that, what they think about that, but it would be good because it would be, again, a wonderful opportunity to see how this animal works, how the suction cups work, how the gigantic beak works, the big mouth that's like a gigantic parrot's beak wrapped in a huge ball of muscle. So I think it would be pretty interesting. When you think of the living space on Earth, all the space that can be occupied by organisms, plants and animals, 99% of all living space on Earth is in the oceans. Now, doesn't it make sense to study that and to learn as much as we can?
The ocean realm contains animals that have developed their own way of coping with some of our most deadly diseases. Each of these test tubes holds a single kind of bacteria. One marine animal can generate thousands of kinds. A square foot of ocean floor contains millions, and with every life form, there is potential.
I think we're close to having a compound go into development as a drug. And so that's pretty exciting. I mean, it could be as close as maybe 3 or 4 years from now.
I think this is what we're looking for.
When something that we collected from the deep sea using our submersible yielded a compound that we discovered that now will be able to be used to treat cancer. So that's pretty exciting.
One of the most promising chemical compounds they have isolated is discodermalide, a chemical found in deep-sea sponges. Sponges produce unique chemicals that allow them to survive extremes in temperature, pressure, and light, substances that could also fight disease. These are multiplying cancer cells. Treated with doses of discodermalide, the cell structure breaks apart and growth stops. If a cure is found in the sea, the organism and its habitat become a precious commodity. One way to manage the marine resource is by recreating the chemical through genetic engineering. These cultures are clones, made from fragments of DNA from the natural marine chemicals collected. 3/4 of our planet is covered by the ocean. Not far beneath the surface, the waters dim, and a mysterious world appears.
It gets darker and darker. You get pitch black, but it's not pitch black. There are organisms down there that are bioluminescent, and there's always sort of flashing going on, and particularly if the sub moves through the water slowly, you shut the lights off, and you're always getting explosions of bioluminescence. It's like a fireworks display.
The underwater world is covered in this darkness. The best view is created by computers. This is Perth Canyon, located 10,000 feet beneath the Indian Ocean. Most of the ocean floor has been mapped by machines, but we have seen less than 2%. Deep-sea submersibles like the Trieste are expensive, and scientific research is no stranger to downsizing. So at this time, human exploration deeper than 20,000 feet is impossible. There is a huge area of ocean floor, fully 2%, where we just can't go.
That 2% of the total ocean floor in the world is about equivalent to the area of the United States. It's like telling mountain climbers that they cannot climb the last 2% of any of the high mountains in the world. That seemed really silly, wouldn't it? But that is exactly what we've done in the ocean since the late 1970s.
I always have loved the seas. It runs in the family. We spend every summer by the sea. The sea always was a great, great, great thing for us. So I love the seas.
Elizabeth Mann Borghese has spent most of her life writing about the laws we need to preserve and use our oceans. Writing talent runs in her family. She is the youngest daughter of novelist Thomas Mann.
You see, I was born in Germany just after the First World War and grew up when Nazism came to power and fascism was in power and we were exiles. And then came World War II and all of that. And I was always looking for a kind of world order where we wouldn't have to be exiles, where we wouldn't have fascism and Nazism, where we wouldn't have World War II. So world order was very high on my list of priorities. I should say that there, my love for the oceans and my passion for politics coincided.
In 1967, Borghese began her crusade for the ocean and became a leader in the campaign for the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. It's a document that provides a universal legal framework for the management of marine resources and their conservation for future generations.
The seas are a hard thing to domesticate. It's a big, beautiful, wild place. I mean, the fish don't care where we draw the boundaries, and the pollution doesn't care either. So these problems have to be tackled by the international community cooperatively, or you cannot solve them at all.
The Law of the Sea Pact views the ocean as a common heritage of mankind, a resource that can be managed but not owned, and should be governed by all those who use it.
You can make a fishery sustainable by prohibiting fishing, by throwing a lot of people out of work. But if a lot of people are thrown out of work and there's no other employment for them, then that's not sustainable. To be sustainable must not be only environmentally sustainable, it must also be socially sustainable and culturally sustainable.
The problem is human beings have gotten very good at catching fish. The Japanese fish market opens at 4 a.m. By 8, over 20,000 fish have been sold. Worldwide, 74 million tons are caught for consumption each year, an amount the oceans cannot sustain. The Law of the Sea document tries to balance our human demands against the ocean's resources. The Law of the Sea is now an official policy of the UN with over 100 ratifications. Japan joined the list in June of 1996, and at that time, the largest country still not participating in the effort was the United States.
It'll affect your life, all right, and I think that the slowness with which we proceed in implementing the kind of legislation that is needed is already affecting your life and my life and the life of my dogs and the life of my children, because there are so many newfangled strange diseases rampant all over the world. Our resistance is breaking down under the impact of environmental degradation.
You can see it in Southern California. Surfers and swimmers find the sea is making them sick. One factor is that the best surf days are after rains when the water is the most toxic.
Had quite a number of infections, respiratory and sinus infections, because the best surf is when it rains. Winter swells, they're big, they're powerful. That's also when the most pollution hits the water from urban runoff, breaking sewer lines. And we advise swimmers and beachgoers and surfers after rain to stay out of the water for at least 48 hours to allow the pollution to diffuse. It's now a hazard.
I have a lot of friends who surf, and a lot of them get really sick. I think that if I were to go swimming at a beach, I would want to know if there was a chance I could get ill from it. See all these straws and trash, and just absolutely disgusting So I really wanted to help educate people as well as myself on how to help protect the waters and like help keep them clean, and as well as the land.
A number of grassroots environmental organizations have sprung up in response. One group calls itself Surf Riders. High school students Leslie Felton and Chris Labar do voluntary water quality monitoring, a program sponsored by Surf Riders. Each week, testers take to the beach looking for dangerous levels of coliform bacteria. If a test result comes back positive, the authorities are alerted. It could result in health hazard signs posted at the beach.
I think they should be doing just what they're doing, namely to really pay attention individually and at a community level, at a grassroots level to these problems. But I would also explain to them, if you think you can do it in isolation, it won't do you much good. Because, I mean, you can keep your backyard clean, but if just next to it there is a tremendous mess, you cannot.